So today I want to talk about just some very beginner stuff for audio production in video. What I'm going to do is just a couple different mic tests just to show you the different sounds between different types of microphones when you're recording commercial video production, doing an interview, stuff like that. So right now we're looking into the C100 and you're hearing the C100 stereo microphones. Those microphones are good, they're fine, they take care of whatever simple little audio you need to record, but in a room they're not close to the source, and so they're going to have a lot of room ring and a lot of kind of that nasty reverb stuff that you hear when people are recording on their iPhones and stuff like that. This room is technically acoustically treated, but it's still going to be a problem. So before I get any further, let me just say that the rule for recording good audio is having your audio capture as close to the source as possible. So, just as by comparison, we'll look over at the Panasonic GH4, which is up there. Can't wait for the GH5 to come out. It's recording on its own stereo mics, same type of deal. It's not really close to me. I am the subject today, not because I really want to look at myself, but because I love talking about this stuff. So it's not going to really have any sort of meaningful dialogue for video production. So, let's switch to the XY mics on the Zoom H6. I like this thing a lot. I never use these mics in an interview situation. However, I just wanted to show you what they might sound like. They are a stereo pair of mics, so you'll be able to hear the stereo field moving from right to left and back and forth. The only application I use these for in dialogue recording is live events. So we're at an event and we got the direct feed all set up. I will set this up somewhere in the room to capture kind of like the broad soundscape of what's going on in that room. And the reason I do that is because when I'm watching a speech recap or an event recap and you just hear the direct feed, I get bothered by that. It's just so dry and it's just so boring and not real. And so if I mix in true stereo sound from like the back of the room into that direct feed, for me at least, it gives much more of a realistic soundscape for what's going on in that actual room. You hear people coughing and papers moving and a little bit of the natural reverb, and I like that a lot. Not good for recording dialogue in an interview situation. So then we're going to now switch to our first high quality microphone, which is the Zoom Rode NTG3, which is the shotgun mic overhead, and this is a wonderful shotgun mic. It's a little pricier if you're looking for the more prosumer or entry-level type of gear, but I like it a lot. It has a nice warm sound. It really, for male vocals, it can almost get overboard on the low mids, and you kind of have to deal with that in post, but I like it a lot. It's a good sound right out of the box. Anyway, so it's right above my head, as you can see. We'll just lift up like that, and I'm overexposed in the phone, which is cool. Uh-oh. I got a calendar appointment that's taking away my recording. So sadly I had to run in the middle of that review, but I'm going to continue it right after this appointment. And the thing with shotguns is they're technically not the best for indoors because they have this interference tube. You probably already know this, but the shotgun microphone works. It has a condenser down on the little diaphragm of the microphone. Then there's this interference tube that has all these side audio sources coming in, getting deflected together in that tube and phasing each other out. So it has this like angle that it picks up in front of it. It's really good for recording dialogue because it'll reject sounds outside of it. Indoors, you don't technically need something like that. So what's the best is like a hypercardioid. I don't have a hypercardioid mic at this point, so I use my shotgun. I've never run into real problems with it. I like it a lot. It's a good source to get close to the subject. Now, moving on, we're going to switch to the Countryman EMW, and this is a lavalier microphone that is mounted right here on my shirt, which you'll probably get some noise from that. All lavalier microphones get noise to some extent when you're on somebody's body or on their shirt. I like lavs a lot, and they're great, and their applications are, especially for live stuff, they're awesome, especially the wireless ones. This one's actually wired, and it has a couple quirks to it. So I bought it because it was a little bit cheaper, and it also had a high shelf, meaning that like the highest frequencies are boosted by about 3 decibels because these lav mics, if they're down on somebody's chest, tend to not pick up high frequencies really well. And the intelligibility of human language is really in the 2,000 to 5,000 range of hertz. And so this boosts that automatically so you don't have to worry about that in post, which is great. But since it's wired, it needs phantom power. And when you deliver 48 volts of phantom power to this thing, you get this crazy noise floor, like this like whooshing noise floor. So what I do is I will actually use it in the Zoom H6 and only give it 12 decibels of 12 volts of phantom power, because the H6 allows for that kind of a customizability for voltage for phantom power. And that actually sounds great because it's rated to like work between 9 and like 50. Well, the higher you get, the more noise floor you get. And that's weird. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. It's a cheaper mic because I need 48 volts for this Rode up ahead, and that's why I'm recording that from the Universal Audio Apollo into Logic, and it's being printed there, and that's how I'm going to use that sound source. So hopefully this helps a little bit. Just kind of a little crash course on audio off the cuff here. This wasn't really planned out. I just thought I want to share what I do. I have some pretty decent success with it. I'm always interested in growing and learning and growing and learning and meeting new people. So if you have ideas or thoughts, like I'm doing something wrong, or you have recommendations for how I do my audio as a freelance video producer, or even as a composer with the stuff I do there, share that in the comments. I'd love to interact with you. I'd love to learn more. And if you like this, you can feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to start putting out more content like this on a frequent basis, on a semi-frequent basis. And I think that's just a great way to interact with the video production world at large. So this really concludes my little jam-packed audio tutorial with just basically just showing off some of the fun things that I like to play with. I'll see you next time.